Welcome to the Herd's official YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out the Colin Cowherd podcast, all of our NFL instant reactions, and more football content.
He's a busy guy doing a lot of things. Multimedia. We don't want to take too much of his time now that he's in the third hour. He's the co-host and a friend. First things first, his name is Nick Wright. His name is Nick Wright, and it's interesting. You're very busy.
That is, hold on. That is one hell of a way to explain I got bumped from the spot I've been in for 7 years for Joel Klatt. When I got the text, like, hey, can we move you? This is like, it's a Herd hierarchy, then Nick Wright, every Tuesday for damn near a decade. Honestly, I said yes, of course, and in my head, I'm like, oh, Tom Brady must be coming on. Like, that would make sense. I was like, that's why I turned it on, and I love Joel, best looking man in sports TV, but it's just a very quick, anytime the ego gets a little too big, it's nice to have a reality check, and it's Joel Klatt's schedule far more important than something we've done for a decade, so no problem. I'm glad you could make time for me, Mr. Cowherd. Thank you.
You bet. I did tell them yesterday. I said I'd prefer him in the second hour. It has to go through Nick, so I did. I made sure.
Yeah, it's fine. No problem. Don't worry.
So I just don't buy Buffalo. I don't think you can win a Super Bowl trailing 7 out of 8 weeks. They're so bad in the first half. They're worse than Cleveland since week 10 in the first half. So I have them 10. And by the way, I've said this with the Chargers. You can't win multiple playoff games with an O-line that bad. You can't win when you constantly put a cape on Josh Allen. Anything else? Anything jump out to you here?
Well, so I guess here's what I would say. I feel like you can do you can't win a Super Bowl with X with every team this year. Like if I were to go through your hierarchy, I would feel like the Seahawks, we're going to trust Darnold in 4 straight or 3 straight huge spots, feels tricky. The Niners, the team that gets to the quarterback less than any team in the league, that many defensive injuries, couldn't do it. Patriots have looked great. The real knock on them is simply a quarterback's first ever playoff run. He's going to go all the way, and they haven't faced the stiffest competition. The Jags have, you know how much I like Trevor Lawrence and want to believe in the Jags, but they were a shaky team until 5 weeks ago. They were winning despite not playing great. The Rams, are they playing their worst football of the season at the worst time of the season? The Eagles have played 32 halves this year, Colin. 3 of them, 10%, they have negative yards passing. 1 in 10 halves, they go negative yards passing. We don't trust, to me, the Broncos or the Texans offense or the Bears defense. And then you get to Buffalo. So I agree with you. It's a but season. Here would be the positive case for Buffalo after Sunday night. I didn't know their defense had that in them. The defense actually bowed up in that game. They got let down by Josh Allen, who's been great, made some mistakes. The sack he took to take him out of field goal range, the fumble is bad luck, but he didn't chase after it, and he missed an easy throw. Can Josh Allen, who, by the way, this is the other question, never won a road playoff game, win 3 in a row to get to the Super Bowl? If not now, win. But I just feel like there is not, now that the Rams look a little shaky, and I don't think we have the clear-cut, all well-rounded, perfect team this year. This is what happens. The moral of the story is, this is what happens when the Chiefs aren't in the playoffs. Everyone's got issues. I mean, it really is just not the same. It's just so much better when the Chiefs are there, and then there's a standard to hold teams to. It's such a bummer.
Yeah, no, that's actually true and funny. It's both. Philadelphia is I said this earlier. If I said, I'm going to tell you the tendencies of this franchise, their coach spars with fans. They fire Super Bowl winning coaches. They move off Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. They go halves without completing a pass. Their coach is a fire starter and sometimes feels kind of immature. and there's drama between their star receiver and the quarterback, you'd be like, okay, that's Carolina, the Saints, the Jets.
Yeah.
Are the Eagles the greatest dysfunctional franchise in American sports? I don't expect you to know hockey. They're kind of dysfunctional.
What a great question. I consider myself, I hope this doesn't sound arrogant, a true top shelf basketball and football historian. Not so much baseball. So were the Billy Martin Yankees like this? Were they really good? I'm not quite sure. Typically, when we think of dysfunctional teams, you think of, the Vikings when they had, earmuffs, kids, the sex boat stuff in the 2000 aughts. I think of the Trailblazers team that you covered.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, like the Blazers, they were good. They went on playoff runs, but you don't think of champions. Maybe you could argue the Barry Switzer Cowboys had some of this, and that is maybe the similarity is just really stacked roster. That the talent becomes almost mistake-proof. But Colin, here's what we now know. Philly is going to be the 2 or the 3 seed. And we know, so they're going to play either the 6 or the 7. If they're the 2, they get Green Bay. I think they should be okay in that spot. But if they are the 3, if either they lose this weekend or Chicago wins and Philly is the 3, then the 3 seed will be playing either the Niners or the Rams. We know that guaranteed. Those are the only 2 teams that can be the 6. Man, I feel like I like either of those teams to go to Philadelphia and beat them given how they're playing right now. I just can't trust that they don't have they have Saquon, but Saquon hasn't been able to save them this year. And they were playing their worst football of the year. They lost 3 straight. Jalen had the 5 turnover game. They then beat Josh Johnson and Kenny Pickett, and people were like, it's fixed. I don't know that it's fixed. And in Buffalo, it didn't seem fixed, even though the defense, hats off to Fangio, the defense is unbelievable. I don't think that's going to be enough for them this year.
So I acknowledge we all have biases. I'm a traitist with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I always say, I want my quarterbacks like my furniture, big and hard to move. I like big, I like strong, I like tough. I like guys who throw picks. I like guys that throw it down the field.
Sure.
And now I don't know what to do with Brock Purdy because he looked like a version of.
He looked awesome.
The last 3 weeks with a good O-line, he didn't have Kittle, Trent Williams, and you and I have been on this, and I think you and I have mostly been right on the quarterback stuff. I look at Brock Purdy, I'm like, not big, he didn't have big arm. He's a pretty good athlete. And then I watch him and I'm like, okay, 3 or 4 weeks in a row, he's as good as any quarterback in the league. I could say, well, it's Shanahan, but Trey Lance didn't work. Garoppolo was okay, wasn't this. What do we make of Purdy?
So listen, I think both things can be true. The last 2 weeks in particular, he's been sensational. And last week against Caleb, he went blow for blow, throw for throw with a guy who you and I both believe has MVP caliber traits. So I am not taking anything away from Purdy for what he did the last couple weeks. That can be true, while it also can be true that the information we gleaned from seeing Mac Jones in this offense with these players for half the season, not be as good as Purdy, but be really good. Be, oh, wow. If you had never seen Mac Jones before, you'd be like, oh, okay, that's obviously a franchise quarterback, but we know he's not. So I think that can go into the Purdy grade and evaluation. I also have said, and people don't believe me on this, and I'll be honest, I don't even know if I totally believe myself on this when I say I'm not trying to be a Brock Purdy hater. I'm just trying to give credit where it's fully due. But I want that to be the case. And the reason I say that is, it's not that I don't want Purdy to get credit. It's that credit, there's only so much credit to go around. And to me, this year, the 2 leading actors for the Niners have been Kyle Shanahan, who has been brilliant, and Christian McCaffrey, who I think is the offensive player of the year in this league. I think Christian McCaffrey having another 2,000 yards from scrimmage season, the touchdowns, the touches, the only consistent person on their offense all year, to have them a game away from the 1 seed, he has been brilliant. Purdy, since he's come back from injury, has been very good, and the last 2 weeks has been exceptional. I still am hesitant, and in fact, not hesitant, I am at the moment unwilling to elevate him past a certain tier of quarterbacks because of what I saw Mac Jones do and because of what I saw Purdy look like last year. But he's been awesome the last 2 weeks. There's no doubt about it.
I would say I had Mike Vrabel on earlier, and I didn't ask him this because I had talked about it earlier, but it was very easy in year 2 to go, Lamar should be MVP because he's so explosive and dynamic and stylistically so unique. And it was very easy with Mahomes. He was winning so many games to go, yeah, that's an MVP. He throws left-handed. He's got the best arm in the league. The guy is clever. He's fun. I think it's harder to look at Drake Maye and go, he's very accurate. He's very sturdy. I like his leadership. It's a hard, until last night, you were like, let's give it to Stafford. 3 weeks ago, it's like, let's give it to Allen. Drake Maye is Brady with a little bit of mobility. And Brady, to the very end, Seth Wickersham wrote a column once. I remember this, reading it. And to the very end, there were sources saying in the building, a lot of quarterbacks could win here. I'm like, could a lot go to Tampa and hoist a trophy? I don't think so. So I think Drake Maye is going to now win MVP. And I'd argue he has been the most consistent quarterback in the league since week 3. Hasn't he?
So here, listen, I think Drake Maye's awesome. I think that, and I came on with you 2 months ago, and I said Maye and Vrabel are a lesson for all the perpetual rebuilding franchises that it does not take 5 years.
That's right.
If you have the right coach and the right quarterback, it takes 2 years. And they've only had the coach for 1 year. So if you have the same coach and same quarterback for 2 years and it's not working, one of them, at least one of them, is not the right guy. I said a month ago that when I am doing the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, forget, in 10 years or moving forward, right now, this moment, Drake Maye's on that list. I believe in Drake Maye. I think he's excellent. And if he wins MVP, I don't think it's a crime. But I think what is happening to the NFL MVP over the last 3 seasons is a crime, a sports crime. And that is this. It feels to me, Colin, like because we do the MVP horse race starting in week 4, that what the MVP race has actually come down to is this. It feels like everything up until December 1st is simply about determining who are the 3 or 4 quarterbacks eligible for the award. And this year it was Stafford, way ahead of everyone, Drake Maye, and Josh Allen snuck in at the end. And then it's as if there is a whole new season, and amongst those 3 players, MVP just becomes December Player of the Month. It's like, okay, Stafford, Maye, and Allen, who has the best closing kick? That guy's the MVP. Because I am 10 days removed from Matt Stafford throwing for 450 and scoring 37 on maybe the best team in the league, one of the best defenses. We are 17 or 20 days, 14 days removed from Drake Maye having the worst game of his season. Again, he's had a great season, but against Buffalo in a big spot. I think Drake is excellent. If I had a ballot, he would be second on it. But what bothers me about where I think the MVP race is going is if you took all 32 games these 2 guys have played, 16 each, and rearranged the order randomly, I think Stafford wins 9 out of 10 MVPs. But because Drake Maye is finishing best and Stafford's had one of his worst games, he's going to win it. I think Stafford's been the best player this year. That's what I think.
Well, you've got a hit show that starts around the corner, and since we pushed you to like a co-pilot
I got to go. I know, it's unbelievable. I got the show. I also have a very, very demanding podcast boss that demanded 2 episodes from me this morning. I'm just working like crazy. Happy holidays, Colin. Great to see you, brother. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
All right. The super fun, talented Nick Wright. First things first after our show. I am a very demanding boss. I think, J-Mac knows that. Pedal to the metal. So nice to have Vrabel on today. He already sent me a nice text. He's a nice guy. The NBA is interesting because I grew up, my first player I loved was Dr. J. And I was reading an article today about Peter Vesey, retirement. It was great article about, covering all these old NBA stars. And the NBA's always been a sport, like, the style matters, like culture, style. I mean, like Walt Frazier, the way he dressed, everything, Walton was against authority. Like, football's really not about that. Football's about winning games. But the quarterback position, it's funny now. You can go to the very end of Tom Brady in New England, and I swear it's Seth Wickersham, great writer. There were writing articles at the end of the Brady run, and there were sources in the building saying, a lot of guys could win here. And I'm like, all right, Cam tried, Mac tried, Garoppolo tried, not winning nearly as much. And then there's the divorce, Belichick, Brady, and you look and you're like, yeah, Tom was about 75% of it, probably. That maybe 65. He was the greater part of it. But like Drake Maye's game is so efficient, and it's not boring. Boring's the wrong word, but it's just so efficient. It doesn't jump through the television. He just completes passes, one after another, and he's very good against the blitz, which young quarterbacks generally are awful against the blitz. So he doesn't get into trouble. He's not running for his life. So much of Drake Maye is pre-snap, getting out of trouble, and completing 7 out of 10 throws. Meet Tom Brady with movement. Out-of-pocket movement. J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Oh, boy, Colin. Big day in the NFL. We got some breaking news out of Dallas. The Cowboys just released cornerbacks Trayvon Diggs. 2 years after signing him to a $97 million extension, more egg on the face of Jerry Jones. We'll hear from him shortly. Diggs is going to go through waivers. And you know what, Colin? I think he's eligible to be picked up by any team in the playoffs here. We're still waiting on that. I don't know if anybody will take a gamble on him. One could argue, hey, he hasn't been a good scheme fit with Eberflus. Well, what are you doing dumping him? Because Eberflus is toast anyway. But the Cowboys remain a mess. Diggs will be $8.5 million of dead cap money next year. Gotta love that, Jerry.
I think the Cowboys are going edge rusher and corner in round one of the draft.
Here's your boy, Jerry Jones, talking about releasing Trayvon Diggs.
We had a high expectation in our secondary, and I thought we would be good at all phases of it. That's a team-wide breakdown for us not to play better defense than we've had. Not an Eberflus breakdown per se, just him.
Yeah, I think they're terrible at corner.
Terrible, yeah. Obviously, tough day for the Diggs family. We know what his brother's going through in New England right now with some charges. Colin, I can't get over the fact that Jerry Jones he's the owner of the team, and they release a cornerback who's barely done jack squat this year, and the first thing Jerry does is go give an interview about it. The owner. When are we going to get perspective here? This is goofy. Colin, what is happening still? If you're a Cowboys fan, hey, you know who's next? It's Bland, the other guy they paid. We'll see what happens with him. Like, I know you love the Jerry move for Quinnen Williams.
I think next they're going to get the top corner in the draft. They're going to get a top 3 edge rusher.
But how are they getting the top cornerback in the draft?
Well, there's 2 really good first-round corners. They're going to get one of them. And then they're also going to get probably the third best edge rusher, third best edge rusher.
What?
So they'll solve some of their defensive issues. Quinnen Williams is Kenny Clark. Gotta have, they haven't drafted that poorly. Overshown's been a good player. I like
Overshown. He's very good.
I think their bigger issue is, do you love the staff? Because there's Nick Wright just said this.
You haven't even got to Pickens. Pickens is the big one. What do you do? You tagging him? You paying him?
No. Flournoy, CeeDee Lamb, Turpin. Go draft another 5th-round receiver.
Flournoy look great because everybody was focused on the wideouts and Flournoy's left alone? Or is Flournoy like an emerging star?
Well, CeeDee Lamb's a guy that you have to bracket and double team. So Turpin and Flournoy are going to get. I think Flournoy's a good player.
Yeah, I like him. Lamb had a case of the dropsies this year. Colin,
bit.
listen, you can put lipstick on a pig all you want. This is a disaster situation in Dallas.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this. New England, I think I've hit 4 in a row, maybe 5, of predicting who's going to double their win total based on if they make a move at coach. Dallas will be my team next year.
Well, who are they getting? Come on. They're dumping Shoddy, one and done?
Halfley, Dable.
Halfley, come on. Really? First-time head coach in the NFL? Wow.
Well, I mean, Jason Garrett had never been a coach.
He was on the staff for years. He was Jerry's guy. Jerry wants a... No, I'm just going to say stuff I regret. Anyways, let's move on to the Chargers, Colin. They secured a playoff spot, but they have ruled out Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh has ruled out Justin Herbert for this week, as well as other starters, which is smart. They are now massive underdogs against Denver in a game that doesn't mean anything. Thank you, Jim Harbaugh. And here's sound of Harbaugh sitting his guys.
Health and winning, that's it. Yeah, there's no way to predict. We're going on the road, first round. All potential teams would be good. The guys that need have the most bruises and need the most healing, we would pull them back. Justin Herbert would be one. We'll see how the rest of the week goes.
Tomorrow, we've got some. I'll tell you what.
What do we have tomorrow?
You don't need Burrow, Mahomes. In the playoffs, some of these playoff matchups are fascinating.
Yeah, okay, the Chargers, Patriots. Let's do it. Now, I'm saving my pick for...
I would say New England at home would win that game.
Interesting. Let's just break it down real quick. Who's got the head coaching advantage? New England Chargers.
They're both A coaches. Both are great.
So no edge. It's a wash. Okay, who's got the quarterback edge?
Well, I think at this point, Herbert is so seasoned, but... I mean, Drake Maye's first playoff game, that's at home, pressure. Khalil Mack coming off the edge. Jesse Minter, DC. That's a tough ask for week 1.
Yeah.
But if it's snowing, SoFi's Chargers going into a snowstorm, that's not great.
Overrated narrative. I totally disagree. If this somehow is 3.5, I'm considering next year's salary just on the Chargers. I love Harbaugh. Listen, man, and they're resting their guys. I love it. Patriots are playing their guys because they still have a shot at, I think, the number 1. But Denver would have to lose to the Chargers, which isn't happening. Can we just get real talk? I don't like looking through the 15 permutations for what could happen. Do you like doing that or no?
Well, there's not 15 of them. I think.
No. I mean, they sent me Chargers playoff. There's okay, fine, not 15. There's 6 different things.
If Baltimore wins. So tomorrow I'll do an AFC playoff picture stating that Baltimore wins. And then because I think they're going to win. Then we know what's going to happen. And I think nobody's talking about. Denver's going to have all home games. They don't lose at home. Jacksonville's the only team in 2 years that's got them at home.
All right.
And Jacksonville, Chargers, Texans, those are warm weather teams having to go play in snow.
So you're sounding confident that Sean Payton's going to the Super Bowl, huh? You want to make it interesting, perhaps?
Take a deep breath.
I'm excited. All right, final story, Colin. We got some crappy news out of the NBA. Nikola Jokic, currently the best player in the league, had just a brutal moment here where his own player backing up steps on Jokic's foot. The knee buckles. There was some major fears. The good news is ligaments are intact, and it's a hyperextended knee. He's going to miss at least 4 weeks. If you are in the awards market, Jokic missing 4 weeks cannot win the MVP because they have this silly, got to play 65 games or whatever. And Jokic now is missing 4 weeks. He can't win the MVP. So obviously the Nuggets have major injury problems right now. Aaron Gordon is down. I mean, they're starting guys I'm not familiar with. Colin, this is really good news for the young San Antonio Spurs, who are establishing themselves, I believe, as the best team in the league. It's OKC and the Spurs at the top of the West record-wise. If the Lakers can tread water without Reeves, listen, the Nuggets for a month, what are they going to be, 5-15? They're not going to be good without Jokic at all. There's a chance for the Lakers to gain some ground.
Oh, come on. They're not Lakers. Lakers have so many. They're so bad right now defensively.
Hey, why don't you start saying nice things about him? Because J.J. Redick will then come on the show.
J.J. Redick's busy. I mean, they have these NBA guys coaching, living on 4.5 hours sleep. He's trying to fix the defense. I think J.J. Redick's busy. I think he's, everybody's like, oh, J.J. Redick, he's really rough on these players. It's okay if the NBA players, occasionally Charles Barkley and J.J. Redick, don't pander to them. NFL guys get crushed all the time. So what? Be better, win games. Lakers stink defensively. Somebody needs to call them out.
Go off, Cowherd.
J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Lakers' fourth worst defensive rating in December in the league. Fans know it. Think about this. They don't have any 3-and-D guys. Like the NBA is a 3-and-D league, has been for a decade. In December, opponent shot 41% from the three-point line. They just can't get out to defend it. It's brutal. I mean, that's just brutal. Like, and that's a roster composition issue. That's not J.J. Redick's fault. I mean, it's been a 3-and-D league forever. They don't have any 3-and-D guys. Jared Vanderbilt's got some dexterity. He's versatile as a defender, but just don't have any versatile defenders. It's an offensive roster. That's not J.J. Redick's fault. Don't blame him. He inherited it. It's the Herd. Well, it's one of the few things I do right. I make a prediction every year. I take an NFL team that was not good the year before, and I say they're going to double their wins and make the playoffs. Last year, I think it was Denver. This year, it was New England. I said, if you give me Mike Vrabel, Drake Maye's really good. They're going to be really, really a playoff team. I didn't think they'd be this good, this fast. I didn't think they'd rebuild their perimeter weapons this fast. Pretty remarkable. And the head coach, Mike Vrabel, known him a while, we all have, is joining us. 3 Super Bowls, 3 division titles. Well, Mike, I talked to a GM about you before you got hired, and he said Vrabel is probably a top 2 or 3 coach because you get the intellect, but he's a culture builder. And the truth is, in modern football, you need kind of a CEO. And a lot of guys can't do this. So how do you you got a good owner. You knew Josh and Drake. How do you build a culture? I mean, what's the first 6 weeks like? What is the secret sauce to build? It's more than just knowing schemes. You got to build stuff.
Yeah, and I appreciate you recognizing that. I think we wanted to have a program in place on April 7th that the players would be proud of, that they wanted to take ownership of, and they wanted to try to protect. So it's everything around the players, making sure that that's good and it's sound, everything that touches them, great staff, great support staff. And then when they get back in here, I wanted it to feel different. I wanted it to have an energy to it. And we were intentional with getting to know each other. Everybody's journey to this National Football League, it looks a little different, whether it's a coach or a player, draft pick, high draft pick, free agent, whatever it may be, but everybody's got a different journey to this league, and they've got a different story. And we were intentional with trying to find out what those were. And then the plays started, then we started installing plays. But I felt like what was important in the off season was that we try to get the right people in the building at the right time, with Elliott and Ryan and Stretch and everybody that was involved in that process through free agency and the draft and everything else.
Yeah, Elliott's a sharp guy. All the GMs I know in the league thinks he really, really like him. When did you know? Was there a moment that you said privately, maybe you didn't tell the players, or maybe you did, that you went to your staff and you said, guys, we're good, like right now? Like, was there an epiphany for you, Mike, watching film thinking, maybe we're a little better than a 9 or a 10 win team. We're a 12, 13 win team.
No, I don't think I ever really thought that. I think that we just try to improve. I try to tell them things that have helped me through the, 30 years of being in this league, of trying to improve along the way. And the teams that continue to improve are the ones that get to play in January and in the postseason. And we try to do that, focus on some keys, focus on building an identity. And then once you build something that you care about, you try to protect it.
You made a comment in camp that I remember, and I talked about it on the air. You said in camp, hey, to be great, you got to be a leader every day. Drake Maye, every day, you got to lead. And it was almost like you were kind of pushing him, like, kid, I know you're the youngest guy in the locker room. Was that your intention, that it is hard to be 23 and lead men that are often 33? Was that your intention when you said that?
Yeah, and I think, anything that I've said publicly, I've said, obviously privately to our players or staff or anybody else. So that wasn't, I've never tried to send a message through the media. But it just talking about maturity, I don't think maturity has anything to do with age. It has everything to do with experience and what Drake went through last year in his first year, and the things that he experienced and what he, the opportunities that he had, and then going into the second season and learning a new offense and, building and the training camp. And I think you just start to see each and every day, his spirit, his passion, his energy, his leadership, how much he puts into this. The excitement that he has for everybody on the football team when they have success. I mean, he's into this when the defensive guys, and we played a bunch of guys last week in the Jets game. He stayed in the game, and he's supporting every single guy. So I think his maturity has grown extremely high since I first met him in January or whenever it was.
You're a defensive guy, yet you feel very current with offense. That is not the case with a lot of defensive coaches. They just don't feel like they quite have a sensibility for it. How do you stay connected to offense when your history is on the other side?
Well, spent a little time on offense back in the day, but I would say just having the experience to be in Tennessee and be the head coach there, and one of our best players, or if not our best player, was Derrick Henry, and how important the run game was to us. And I guess maybe having a son that was an offensive lineman, I gravitated towards that room. I tried to learn. I tried to understand blocking schemes. But I also felt like as a defensive player, I wanted to know what the scheme was, or what the guy across from me, what his job was. And maybe that would help me do my job. Sitting in a lot of meetings and try to learn from the coaches, the coordinators, and because I feel like the one thing that I can do is have a connection with each and every player in every position. If I can just have one or two things about the game plan or something that they can do to, help them do their job better, that's an immediate connection, especially during the season. I can walk in and say, hey, this is how they're running their games, or this is the pressure, or whatever it may be. If I can just have one thing, that's a good connection for me, or a good place for me to be able to enter into a meeting.
Mike, you have when you sit after a game, you stand up and you meet every player. You obviously connect with players. Is the hardest part of your job when you have to bark and not be a friendly guy? Because you're a guy that really connects emotionally. What happens when you have to turn on that guy the next day at practice and bark? Is that a tough thing?
Well, we've always talked about that. When you can make a connection with somebody and you get on guys, I got to protect the team. That's my job. I tell them that I don't have to do it all the time, that they can do it. And if they don't, then I'm more than happy to step in and do that. I know how hard their job is. That's why I've always stood out there, win or lose, thank them for what they do out there on the football field. We don't take those things or opportunities for granted. There's a lot of pressure on them to perform personally and also for this team. And so, there's never, I'm trying to be demanding and not be demeaning, and certainly try to work on the way that my tone in the way that I try to hold everybody accountable.
Does Brady ever call you and try to give you tips on Drake Maye or anything like that? Does he ever text you or anything like that?
Nah, we're all set right now.
Yeah, I try to give him tips on broadcasting. He doesn't want to listen to that either. So, hey, it's great. Yeah,
he should pay attention.
Hey, good luck. Congrats. Really happy for you, Mike. You've kicked butt.
Yeah, thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
You bet. Mike Vrabel. I thought they were going to be really good. I thought they were going to be a playoff team. I didn't think they were going to be this good. I didn't like their receiving core last year at all. I thought they were just slow and didn't have any juice. And they've been outstanding. So speaking of coaches, did you see, I don't use this word very often, courageous. Did you see the courageous Lincoln Riley yesterday willing to go to the podium and confront the issue with the Notre Dame USC rivalry and admit publicly that they should be playing. Here's Lincoln Riley.
Had Notre Dame lived up to their word and played us anytime, anywhere, we would be playing them the next 2 years and looking ahead after that and hopefully continuing the series. They did not follow through on it. Thus, we are not playing them the next couple of years. We're hopeful something can be worked out in the future. That'd be fantastic. We at SC would love for the game to continue, and we have no problem following through on our promises in the future.
Oh, that's what courage looks like. Let me ask the former angry USC Trojan players something, who are mad this, for the time being anyway, that this game won't take place. Let me ask you, former Trojans, something. Are any of you business people or entrepreneurs? Okay. If you are, if you went into business with somebody and that person had a side deal that could potentially cut you out of profits, you still want to do business with that person? You do? Gosh, I'd like to do business with you then. I'll have some side deals. You're okay with Notre Dame's side deal, which this year, if they had it, would have knocked Miami out of the college football playoff. The Miami that went to Texas A&M and won and has the ability to beat Ohio State tomorrow night. You'd be comfortable with that side deal. In fact, USC next year could go 9-2 in the regular season, be ranked 10th. Notre Dame could be ranked 12th, and Notre Dame would get in, and USC would get knocked out because of automatic bids. You're okay with that? Yeah, I'm not going to apologize because I care more about trophies than tradition. Money than mementos. Sorry, I do. But I'm going to give Notre Dame credit for this. Notre Dame is clearly prioritizing, due to the side deal, the playoff. Notre Dame used to play Michigan every year. They don't. They got over it. Go look at Notre Dame's schedule. Notre Dame said, no, we're not going to go play USC in September. We know we have a weak schedule. We're not going to do it because Notre Dame prioritized getting into the playoff. The former Trojans that are angry, seems to me, are prioritizing history. Like, I'm not going to apologize because I use AI and the internet. Right. Like USC shouldn't have to apologize because they're prioritizing, because their schedule as a fully committed member to the Big Ten is brutal. At Indiana, at Penn State, Oregon, Washington, Ohio State, Iowa. Yeah, we'll play you, but you got a side deal, so here's our deal. We're playing early. That's all USC said. You got a side deal, so here's our deal. We're not playing you in the middle of the Big Ten schedule. We got a trigonometry final. You got home ec 6 times. So, you know, I appreciate Lincoln Riley going out and saying, you know, we kept up on our deal. But just ask yourself, if you're a Trojan and you're angry, if you went into business with somebody and that person had a side deal that could cut you out of profits at the end of the deal, you still want to do the deal? Really? You're that naive? Well, I mean, they used to be trustable. Contractually, they have a side deal, cut you out of the profits. This was the only thing USC could do. It was the only smart thing USC could do. It may hurt your feelings. You may not like the lack of embrace toward history. I get that. I understand if you played the game, you love the game. But let me give you a heads up, all you former Trojans, on business. If your partner's got a side deal that can cut you out of the profits, you may hire a lawyer and wiggle out of the deal because it's not a good deal for you. It would be a great deal for Notre Dame. We get your strength of schedule, and we get you after you just played Ohio State or Michigan or Oregon. Yeah, we'd love to play USC in October, fresh off being in Columbus the week before. That's great for Notre Dame. There are those speculating that with 7 job openings or 8, there aren't enough good candidates. I would argue we'll have our coaching tree, our Christmas coaching tree. I think there's 6 or 7 really good candidates. And we'll talk about that coming up. J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, I can't wait to see that list, Colin. Let's get started with Ravens-Steelers Sunday Night Football. Usually this history between these two teams is phenomenal, but this one, not great, especially because Lamar Jackson is TBD, according to John Harbaugh, on whether or not he'll play following the back contusion. Here is Harbaugh on his 2-time MVP.
Well, it's to be determined. You know, I mean, still he's coming off a very serious injury, and he's working at it. Saw him in here today working at it. So I think we'll know a lot more on Wednesday.
Yeah, I know you're Mr. Tinfoil Hat conspiracy theory guy. You want one?
Okay, sure.
So remember before Christmas, that story came out in Baltimore about Lamar and practice habits and video games and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Wasn't really addressed by Lamar. Harbaugh, I think, tried to shoot it down. He gets hurt the next day, right? Christmas Day. Haven't heard much from Lamar since. If he's 50-50, he's like, you know what? Screw these guys. They're planting stories about me in the media. I don't need this. Is there a quiet quitting going on with Lamar Jackson thinking, I'm done in Baltimore? I don't need this place anymore.
Would you read that somewhere?
No, I just came up. I hatched it talking to Zach here over what we're going to talk about. And I'm like.
Did you get that with like Tucker Carlson? Is on his Reddit board or something?
I think it was J.D. Vance's finest work. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, like, we know that there is some kind of issue with Lamar. He wanted that full money guarantee. Now he takes a knee to the back and he's not back in. I mean, this guy's a warrior, isn't he?
I don't know. I'll have to let that bake. I think he's hurt, and Lamar's not somebody who seeks microphones. And I mean, he's never been that kid. If you ask him a question, he gives you a thoughtful answer. I don't know. I think that makes Lamar look like he's deceptive and devious. And I think he likes being a Raven. I think I would want to be a Raven if I was an NFL quarterback. I think it's great ownership. I mean, I think it's a first-class operation. I can't believe he wants to get out of there and go play for the Jets.
Well, no, listen, by the way, stop peddling Lamar to my Jets, okay? 2 years ago when I wanted it.
Makes sense for them, not for
the Jets. What are we doing taking on the most expensive guy in the league? I don't need that. Colin, I just don't. This offseason is going to be fun. Maybe it's the media trying to gin up this game with this Tomlin stuff. But between Tomlin, Lamar, Kelsey leaving, the Chiefs' demise.
2 games this weekend I can't wait to watch. That's one of them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think I like the Steelers here. And you know my guy, Aaron Rodgers.
I like the 3.5. I like Baltimore to win, but I'm taking the hook every time in this game. It's going to be close and low scoring.
Now, this is too hot of a take, but if you're the Steelers, do you want to face Snoop Huntley or Lamar?
I would rather face Snoop Huntley, but I like Snoop Huntley. I think he's one of the better. I think there's 3 backups in this league that are good. Mac Jones is a good backup. Malik Willis is a good backup. And Snoop Huntley is a good backup. Those are pros. You can win games with those guys. I like those guys as backup.
Davis Mills has been solid.
He's been solid. I'm saying, but
Kirk Cousins, solid.
Kirk Cousins, maybe the starter going forward.
Expensive, but there's a couple of. Marcus Mariota was okay at times. Anyways, all right, let's move on to the Houston Texans, Colin. One of the hottest teams in the league, 8 straight dubs for DeMeco Ryans and company. Nice win over the Chargers, kind of held on for victory. Remember, they started 0-3, and they're headed to the playoffs. They could win the division. DeMeco Ryans pinpointed the moment the season turned around. Here we go.
From my viewpoint, the turning point for our entire season, I go back to our Jacksonville game. Right, for us to be down as far as we were in that game, and to have our backup quarterback Davis Mills, right, to have such a clutch performance to get us into a position to win that game. I feel like that's the game that flipped our season and just showed us, like, no matter what we're up against, no matter who's on the field, if we stay together, stay connected, like, we can overcome anything.
He's young. How old is DeMeco Ryans?
He's younger than both of us. That's really all that matters. But how about this? For a young guy, first 3 years in the league, him and Stroud are going to the playoffs. That's pretty good.
Not just that. This was a bottom 3 laughing stock in the league.
That's
He's
right, they had
41 years old. That dude's got his wits about him at 41. Like, D'Amico is buttoned up at 41. Yeah. That's a guy I'd want to play for. I mean, that's one of the few defensive coaches. He's basically, it's LeBron 41 and D'Amico Ryans.
LeBron's birthday today. We'll talk about that in 3 minutes. Colin, just as of now, based on the standings, the Texans would go to Pittsburgh in the first round.
Pittsburgh couldn't score.
100%. I like them. Now, if somehow Jacksonville slips against Tennessee and Houston gets the 3, they would host the Chargers. That's still a great matchup for the Texans. Colin, this is a dangerous team. I
think Houston matches up with everybody.
So if we did a draft of teams that you think would go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC, I'll give you first pick.
My take, I think Jacksonville.
Take Denver. They got the bye.
No, New England, Houston, and Jacksonville are a handful. Denver is fascinating because they win a lot of close games and they're great at home. So, we're glossing over this. Denver gets to play at home the whole AFC playoffs. They've won 12 of 13 at home. They're great at home.
Okay, right. So Denver would be your pick. Is that what you're saying?
Whatever.
You're leaving Josh Allen on the board? The Houston Texans defense?
Houston beats Buffalo 3 out of 4 times.
Jacksonville just went to Denver and smoked them by 2 tutties.
Yeah, wait till you go back to Denver and it's snowing and you bring your board shorts from Jacksonville and it's 7 degrees blowing sideways.
Didn't Jackson Dart go up and down the field against? I'm just telling you, this Denver defense is overrated, big guy. Just be careful. I know you're excited, Sean Payton, blah, blah, blah. I don't know about the Denver Broncos. Finally, Colin, let's wrap up with, as you alluded to, the birthday, 41 for the big guy, LeBron James, greatest player in NBA history. J.J. Redick called it remarkable what LeBron's doing at 41. Colin, this is insane. LeBron, this is season 23. He's averaging 20 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds on 50% shooting. This is insane. A lot of guys have stuck around way too long. It's not too long for LeBron.
Well, I do think this should be his last year.
Wait, hold on. Should be his last year?
Yeah.
Or you think it will be? Because those are two. He's not declining to the point that he's like a negative on the court.
Well, let's be honest in the next year. He's not getting an extension. Bronny James, it's been a great story. If LeBron left, Bronny's not necessary on the roster. The former ownership has played into LeBron. This ownership is about J.J. Redick and Luka and maybe Austin Reeves. So I think it's been a nice, soft landing in L.A. business. Bronny, I think it's gonna end. I think it's gonna end.
I largely agree. Let me posit a scenario. The Lakers go to LeBron and say, LeBron, we can't build a championship-winning team with you at 40, 50 million. How low are you willing to go to stick around here? Well, what if LeBron says, I'll play for the mid-level exception, or I'll play for like $4 million a year?
He's not doing that, one.
I don't think he would.
And secondly, they have defensive issues. One of them is LeBron. They gotta switch this roster up and go get athletes and 3-and-D guys. They don't have enough 3 guys, and they got no 3-and-D guys. So at this point, he gets in the way defensively. I mean, just does. He hurts. They have plenty of offense. Austin Reeves, Luka, and DeAndre Ayton, if you kept him. I'm not sure he loves basketball, but whatever. Offense is not the issue. The issue is defensively, they have holes, and I think LeBron's one of them.
They just got to get young, Colin. Watching the Spurs and Thunder, it's like all young dudes running around. It's like me trying to play with the young guys.
Tiger Woods 50 today.
Who?
Tiger Woods.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, congrats.
J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
I think the coaching tree is better than people think. Next, the Herd. People say there's going to be 7, 8 job openings. Are there any good coaches out there? And so I thought, you know what? Many of you still have the Christmas tree up. In fact, I asked Ann, when are we taking the Christmas tree down? And I think Friday's the day. So here's our coaching Christmas tree. I think there's a lot of interesting presents in this one. Let's start with what I view as the top candidate. That would be Brian Flores. Now, he's got a lawsuit currently against the Giants, Broncos, and Dolphins. So he's not getting the Giants-Dolphins job. But I think he was 19-14 over 2 seasons with the Dolphins. He has been as capable as any coordinator. I think Brian Flores, he's the star at the top of the tree. I say Robert Saleh, number 13 scoring defense, this year having lost Fred Warner and Bosa, has got to be on that coaching tree. Mike McCarthy, 12 winning seasons and 12 playoff appearances. Has to be on that coaching tree. Jesse Minter, the defense was the worst in the league. It's been number 3 in the 2 years since he arrived after winning a natty with Harbaugh at Michigan. Jeff Hafley, he's been a head coach before Boston College, so he gets that. Not a guy that wants the spotlight. Hafley's really bright. He lost Micah Parsons and Kenny Clark in a trade. That's not easy, but they have a top 10 scoring defense, and the Green Bay historically doesn't do defense like they do offense. And Brian Daboll, who worked under Saban and Belichick, also won Coach of the Year in New York, won a playoff game with Daniel Jones. I would keep your eye on an interesting present that has not been unwrapped yet. Ryan Day, Eagles and 49ers assistant, is probably a year away from being opened. But what if he wins back-to-back natties? He's conquered college football, wants to take the next big career leap. Flores, Saleh, McCarthy, Minter, Hafley, Daboll, Ryan Day. I'd have no trouble hiring any of these guys this year or next with a Miami. Now, I also think that a Kevin Stefanski should keep his job in Cleveland. I think it's ridiculous. Hopefully that win over Pittsburgh maintains the leadership between the GM, Andrew Berry, and Kevin Stefanski. But I actually think there's some really interesting coaches. Jeff Hafley was a head coach at Boston College and said, I want to go to the next level, and has crushed it. It's interesting that you'd give up Boston College money for coordinator money, but the NFL coordinators now probably make as much as a Boston College coach. I wonder if we see that going forward. Chip Kelly said, I don't want to be the coach of UCLA. I'm going to be a coordinator at Ohio State. And he won a national championship. So that's interesting. Are you going to see some of these college coaches at lower tier programs like BC say, we can't compete in the NIL world. I'm going to go be a coordinator at college for 2 or 3 years with a stable operation. Green Bay, certainly that. And then I become a head coach. Jeff Hafley may be what a lot of coaches are seeing out there. Like, why play in the NIL world at Purdue? Go be a coordinator with D'Amico Ryans in Houston, or a high-level guy like a Vrabel in New England, and then do it for 2 or 3 years and become a head coach.
Colin, I'll just ask. Hafley has been good with Micah Parsons. I mean, the Ravens ran up, 300 yards on the ground?
Right.
As soon as Micah goes out last week with a backup quarterback. I'm sorry, it's just an uninspiring list of candidates this year. There's just not anybody great. I mean, Brian Flores at the top. What's up with his lawsuit against the NFL? How's that working out? Like, I remember the Giants were so serious about him that, they interviewed also Brian Daboll and ended up picking Daboll. Remember the whole Belichick texting thing? Like, I don't think anybody's touching Flores yet. Sounds like O'Connell thinks he's coming back. It's just not a great year to fire your coach.
Mike McCarthy.
He's not doing a rebuild, though, is he? He's not taking the Jets. They got no quarterback.
Not college. Rebuild called free agent money. Keep your eye on Ryan Day. I think Oregon, Texas Tech's going to be interesting. So Dante Moore is fascinating. There could be a domino effect. Here's my big opinion, and it actually helps Oregon, helps Dante Moore, and hurts crappy NFL teams desperate for a quarterback. I don't think he's going to play particularly well against Texas Tech, but I think Oregon probably finds a way to win. He was good against James Madison, 5 touchdowns, 300 yards, completed 70%. He wasn't great against Iowa. It was bad weather. He wasn't great against Indiana. He was good against Penn State. They turned out to be not very good. I like Dante Moore a lot, but he's 20 years old. What a disaster it would be to send him to the Jets. What a disaster it would be to send him to a bad team with a shaky ownership. I want to see the kid succeed. Reportedly, he's a great kid. And I think Texas Tech, Oregon's best case scenario for the program is they win and Dante maybe has a bad pick, doesn't blow everybody away, I think that's best case because Darnold, look how good Darnold is. And remember how good Darnold was in college at USC. He went to New York, the dysfunctional Jets, and he was 20, and it was a disaster. So you can't overcome weird ownership, bad coaching, shaky front offices, weak rosters, unless you're Andrew Luck at a college. So here is Todd McShay last week on the show about Dante Moore going forward.
I love him. I think he's going to be a great pro. If he were solely listening to my advice, I would say go back to school for another year, man. Because I have evidence from 25 years that I've gathered that the number of starts that he has, which is 17, I think at this point, it'll be 18, 19, 20, somewhere in that range. The chances of him succeeding with another 12, 13, 14 starts next year are significantly higher. 25 years of data telling me that.
Todd's right. So it's just, he's a really talented kid, but we've seen this time and time again. You get stuck with the wrong franchise. Look at how good Sam Darnold is now. Winning record Carolina, winning record Minnesota, winning record Seattle, disaster in New York. So the other thing, I tend to see myself as America's honesty broker. I had the voice of college football, Joel Klatt, on earlier, who is also the voice of reason on USC and Notre Dame ending their, at least for the time being, I think they'll resume it at some point, perhaps, but ending their rivalry, and Klatt sees it like I do.
Listen, it does not behoove anybody. I can't believe I'm saying this, but to schedule Notre Dame because they have such an advantage over these teams that are playing in the Big Ten and the SEC's cases, much more difficult schedules. And now there's this bar, like a minimum bar, where all Notre Dame has to do is be in the top 12 with their schedule. That's crazy.
Miami, if Notre Dame's side deal would have been intact this year, Miami, who just beat Texas A&M in the playoff, Miami would have been bounced out by Notre Dame, and Miami beat Notre Dame. Think about that. Meaning there could be a scenario if USC Notre Dame played, USC beat Notre Dame, is ranked ahead of Notre Dame, and would get bounced out by Notre Dame and their automatic bid. Think about that. Miami this year would have been bounced out, and they beat Notre Dame head-to-head. And had 4 common opponents and beat 3 of the 4. So just put yourself, USC, in Miami's shoes. They would have been knocked out and beat Notre Dame. So again, I said before, all these former Trojans that are upset. Are any of you guys business guys? Any of you guys entrepreneurs? Would you go into a business deal where a guy had a side deal that you didn't know, or you didn't have, even if you did know, and he could take a majority of the profits because of the side deal? I wouldn't do a business deal like that.
Colin, can I ask, why do you, I know you hate this Notre Dame auto in the top 12. Why do you think the committee cut the deal with him then? Why would you do the deal at Notre Dame? Hey, go play in a conference. No, we want you. Why do you think they said you're auto top 12?
Because Notre Dame's a huge brand. Yeah, that they are. And also, Notre Dame cut a deal because Notre Dame knows if USC doesn't play us, our schedule will easily be the weakest of any top 10 to 12 program. They knew it. So now this could all be averted if you didn't have these automatic qualifiers like Tulane and James Madison. If you took those out, then I think USC would be more comfortable saying, hey, if we're ranked top 12, we get in. But now you can be ranked 10th if you're USC. Notre Dame 12th, you could have beaten them head-to-head, and Notre Dame gets in automatically. Yeah, I'm not going into. Yeah.
It's smart by Notre Dame, right? You would admit that. You can say The other side is like upset. Why would you do it? But it's smart
Notre
for Notre
Dame smartly is prioritizing the playoff.
Yeah, and we don't care about a conference. We don't need no conference because guess what? We've got to deal with NBC, and teams are willing to play us for a marquee game, right? Cincinnati, all these other middling tier programs. And guess what? Notre Dame, they then can bake in one loss a season and still get to the playoff. It's genius business from their end.
And USC says, no can do. Yeah. We're now in arguably the toughest conference. If you look at USC's schedule next year, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, at Indiana, at Penn State.
Well, we don't know if Indiana and Penn State are going to be great, but the other two, yes. That's tough.
Indiana's going to be really good. They got major money and a great coach. They got NFL dudes everywhere.
They're not going to be top 10, though. Come on.
Oh, I think they are.
Really? Okay.
Oh, Mark Cuban, you see they're writing checks. Have you seen the two families writing checks for Indiana? Indiana's got a great business school. Indiana's here to stay.
I think this deal makes sense for both sides, USC and Notre Dame. There's no loser here except the fans who missed the game, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Michigan used to play Notre Dame. They stopped playing it. The sport's more popular than ever. Yeah. I think college football is a bit of a mess, but it's
That's for sure.
But not everything that's a mess. We've all gone to events. We've all gone to parties. We've all been in relationships that are a bit of a mess, but they're fun. USC played 9 conference games this season. I don't think you need to add another. See you tomorrow.